Hi everyone, morning of day 2 in Anchorage, and we just had the best flight I think we've ever had. I think Carol will agree. We just went up to the Ruth and Eldridge Glaciers, which are fed by Mount Denali, and it was just beautiful. And the first time in 5 trips we've actually seen the top of Mount Denali. Just absolutely gorgeous. So we should have some really beautiful pictures for you to see at the end of this video here. And smooth, just really nice. We got up to about the 8,000 foot level and then turned around. And about a 2-hour flight from Anchorage to get up there and back. And that puts us at about 33 hours now from Atlanta flight time. So do my usual. We're going to change the oil here in Anchorage. Basically just drain the oil, stick with the same filter, get us back home. And but we certainly can't complain about the weather here. It's gorgeous. Supposed to be 73 today. And as Carol pointed out, you almost have to do a weight and balance every time we go fly here with all the bugs. There's quite a bit of bugs, and it kind of messes with the view on the windshield. But if you look around, you can see the mountains all around Anchorage. It's just really, really gorgeous here today. And we're looking forward to getting back and walk around Lake Hood Seaplane Base. Last night we sat at the Millennium, and for about 3 hours we watched float planes, about 1 or 2 every minute. It was really a lot of fun. They were taking off or landing, including one Grumman goose, a twin, doing touch and goes, and that was pretty exciting to watch. Can't remember ever seeing that before. So we'll show you some more pictures of those as well at the end of this video. Thanks for watching. All right, welcome back. Friendly reminder to those of you who are pilots, remember to turn off that forward-looking terrain that you see displayed here. So now we're going to move to the video section. They really came out pretty, as you're going to see. Some of getting there is a little bit boring, so we're going to speed it up. And for those of you watching, you can just pause it if you want to see any of the pictures. But we're going to try and get you to the money scenes rather quickly here. This is what the trip's all about for us. Yes, the journey is gorgeous, and you've seen a lot of those videos already. But flying up and down the glaciers, there's nothing like it. And yeah, we're single engine here, but also want to make certain you understand we do have all of our survival gear with us. It's actually a requirement in Alaska. And also carry a handheld VHF radio along with our personal locator beacon. And as I mentioned, we do a lot of maintenance on the aircraft, so we're not going to worry about it on this trip. We're going to enjoy the view. So grab your popcorn, here we go. So we're departing from Merrill Field, and right there we're going up the Glen Highway. And it's really pretty along this route. There's a seaplane base right there with a lot of houses around it. It's just they rarely go up for sale there, unfortunately. And there we're going to cut across the Knik arm of the Cook Inlet right there by the Birchwood Airport there off to the right. So we're now turning across the Knik Inlet, and we're going to kind of go more northwest up towards the Alaska range where Mount Denali is. Now the other side of this Knik outlet is a very populated area in Alaska actually, and just a gazillion bunch of little airports, all private airports. Some of them are seaplane bases, some are little dirt strips. This is a really high touristy area. And lots of flights out to go see the stuff that we're going to show you here today if you get up there on one of the cruises or something. So you don't necessarily have to fly up here to Anchorage to get to go see these glaciers. You can see a lot of farming, and keep your eyes kind of open there and look, and you'll see some of these airstrips go by. We're actually going to head up towards the Talkeetna area. You can see it starts to get a little more sparse population here, and lots of marshland, lots of little pools, water there you can see, lots of swans in there we'd see on this trip.
And we did see our first moose and her baby yesterday when we were walking around in Anchorage, and it was really cool. It was just on one of the 11-mile coastal path that you can walk around in Anchorage, and we just happened to see her standing in the woods.
Yeah, that was pretty. Thanks for reminding us about that. So we're going to be flying up some rivers here. These are all glacial rivers, so you'll see they're kind of silty. You've seen some of those in the prior videos. There's a little dirt strip coming on the left, bottom lower left corner there, the movie. This is the Susitna River. You can just begin to see the snow-covered Alaska Range up there at the very top of the screen. That's where we're headed. It's really lush green up this way from all the just wonderfully pure water coming down from those glaciers. This road that you're seeing here to the right side of the Susitna River, which is actually now the Chulitna River where we're at, that road is the George Parks Highway, and that actually goes all the way to Denali Park and then on into Fairbanks, which brings up a point of, for those of you who are maybe flying and fly into Fairbanks, you can actually catch this same trip on the way from Fairbanks down to Anchorage, and that's what we did on one of our trips. We left Fairbanks, you come up through the Summit Pass there, you pick it up at the Healy River and then come on through, and then you can go up these glaciers from that side and then down into Anchorage or back down into Homer if you'd like as well. So if we haven't put it in the video, one of the things we'll remind you here too is there are reporting points going up and down these glaciers. The FAA actually has a link on their website which depicts all of these glaciers and the names of the reporting points. And on the day we went up, a lot of traffic, everybody doing lots of reporting. We actually saw and heard more traffic on the Ruth Glacier, which you're going to see here in a bit. The one we're going up here first is the Eldridge Glacier. And then a reminder, you want to stay to the right-hand side, going up and coming down. It's just almost like driving on the road. So here we are, heading up the Eldridge Glacier. All the dirt and stuff you're seeing here is called the terminal moraine. It's at the end of the glacier. If you look down in some of those water holes, you can actually see the ice. So it's really just the dirt there on top of the glacier. It's pretty thick. Again, this is the Alaska Range, and it's amazing to me how green some of the hilltops are and the short amount of season that they have there. This is July, so ice has really only been off of these hills for maybe a month or so, and they're already green. So for you pilots, we're actually climbing up here at about 140 knots indicated airspeed, and we're climbing pretty good. So you want to pay attention to your power settings and your airspeed while you're enjoying the scenery. You got to glance in once in a while because we're climbing at a pretty good clip here. Actually, it doesn't look like it But by the time we get to the top of both these glaciers, we're almost at 8,000 feet, and that's starting at pretty much sea level. Staying to the right-hand side or hugging the right wall does another thing for you. In the event you need to turn around, it gives you a turning radius that should clear the other side. The other thing you can do when you start your turn is slow down. That'll make your turn radius quite a bit smaller. The camera here is on the right wing, so it looks like we're a little closer to the right side than we really are. Right wingtip is not dragging the hillside. Those two dark lines coming down the center of the glacier, that's called the medial moraine. So we're going to start our turn here and go back down and head over to the Ruth Glacier. That's a beautiful picture right there. And right here is a still picture of what it looked like when the clouds were much lower. So you can see you got to pay attention going up these glaciers. Sometimes you can get up there a little further, other times you got to be prepared to turn around. And as I mentioned on one of the earlier videos, you want to be careful on a cloudy sky going up these glaciers. You can run into what's called flat light, where the snow just blends into the clouds and you can lose your spatial orientation very quickly. What a view though, huh? It's just really, really pretty here, and there are no roads. The only way to see this stuff is to go fly it. Matter of fact, I don't think we saw any cruise ships going up and down the glaciers. It's very tempting here to take a shortcut over to the Ruth Glacier. You could actually do that, just turn right and go over the hills and go over to it. But we're here for the view. It's a lot of fun seeing this. So here we are making a right turn up to the Ruth Glacier. This is our favorite glacier to go up and down, and you'll see why when we get up further up this glacier. There's just some gorgeous views here. It's funny, but our first trip there was in 2011, and there appeared to be a lot more snow on the glaciers then than there are this year when we went back. Again, look at all the green on the rock. It's just amazing. It's just really pretty. It's somewhat narrow. We're going to show you what it looks like on your moving map and why you need your forward-looking terrain off. Otherwise, it's just going to be yelling at you. The terrain display is going to look a lot like it did coming up some of the valleys on some of the prior videos you've seen. And just like the Grand Canyon, this camera does not do it justice. Well, it's a little tight here if you had to turn around, so you want to slow down. I'm going to show you here on the moving map display. One of the things I do is the night before is actually plot our trips somewhat up and down, just so I can keep track of where we are on these glaciers. So there you can see where I had planned to turn around, and here we're approaching the turnaround area, and this is about the 8,000 foot level. Lots of snow up there. If you look down, you can see the bright blue ice where some of the snow is melted. You can actually see the glacier. It's really, really pretty. So here we're going to start our turnaround. And the way the sun's reflecting now, you can see a lot more blue water. It's just really, really pretty. It almost looks unreal. Just like some of the valleys that we traveled up, the view here left and right is just amazing. Lots of pictures, lots of glaciers. Lots of ice falls. Here we are coming down to the end again. You can see the dirt on the right side is known as the lateral moraine, and I already told you about the medial moraine, and then down at the bottom being the terminal moraine. We're going to show you a little fun thing we always do here coming down the Ruth Glacier. It's almost celebratory in nature, but you can start to see those little peaks coming right out at the top left center of the screen. They're very tempting. On a nice day with no winds, you want to be careful here. And by the way, you do want to fly up here when it's calm. Makes for a much smoother flight. Make it an early morning flight. So here we go. We're going to go right through one of those peaks just to get a picture for you here. Isn't that beautiful? There's some wispy clouds are going by. So here we are now. We're coming out of the Ruth Glacier. There's a couple more glaciers that we've gone up further down, the Takasitna Glacier and the Kahalitna Glacier, if I'm saying those right. I'm sure some of the locals will help me with my pronunciation. But these were the most fun ones, and you know, it ends up being about a 2-hour trip, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. That's kind of long enough. But we have gone up the other ones before. It makes the trip a little longer. They're not a whole lot different. We do find the Ruth Glacier to be the most exciting one. So here we are, just kind of headed back down towards Talkeetna. And the day we were there were lots of flood warnings in this area. It was just, whether it's from the snow melt, because we didn't see a lot of rain while we were there, so we're assuming it's from the snow melt. But you can see it's a lot of marshland, so we had some extra water too. It's got to go somewhere. By the way, we're about 2,000 feet over the ground here. This is the Wasilla area that we're coming up on. Just a little north of the Knik Arm. We're going to cut back across and then down to Birchwood and into Merrill Field. So Merrill Field being a controlled field, meaning there's a control tower there. We got to get permission to go in and out. About now we're starting to listen to the ATIS. And we'll be calling Merrill Tower once we get to the other side and down past Birchwood. There are some reporting points and some places that we need to avoid, and we're going to show you those. There's an Army Air Force Base, Bryant Army Airfield, which is part of the Richardson Air Base, and then Elmendorf. And it's very easy to mistake those two for Merrill Field, so you want to pay attention. Merrill Field's kind of hidden, as I mentioned earlier, I think in the prior video. It's a downtown runway. So here we are going across the Knik Arm again. There's the Birchwood Airport, and there's the Glen Highway. We've seen that before. So we're going to turn and follow the Glen Highway, and in about this time, we're going to call the tower and let them know where we're at. There are reporting points. One is the bridge, right there. Just went by it, so we've called tower. We've told them we're at the bridge, and they've told us to circle up here at the golf course. So you kind of got to pay attention. The golf course is marked on the map. We saw it. You'll see it coming up here in a bit. And we end up doing 2 turns. There's the golf course right down there, kind of the right quadrant of the screen. That's where tower told us to hold over the golf course. So we're going to start a left-hand turn here. A good view of Anchorage, and you can see the Cook Inlet right at the top right side of the screen there. So just like flying up the glaciers, these hills aren't all that steep, but I do slow down before we start our turns. There's a good view right there of the Bryant Army Airfield at the Richardson Air Base. You can see the Richardson Air Base right there now coming up the center top of the screen. And at the very top of the screen, you can see the Elmendorf Air Force Base. And if you know where to look, you would have seen Merrill Field just a little to the left of it, but we're going to get a better view of it here as we make the approach to landing. So here we are in our second turn. And just about the time we got finished, tower told us to plan a straight in for the runway, and that's coming up here in a bit. There's a good view again of the Army Bryant Field. The Richardson Air Base again. And right now, top center of the screen is Elmendorf. And then right center of the screen right there was Merrill Field. So we're going to start our trek over to Merill now. And basically we're going to line up with the center of the runway. We're going to look like we're offset again because of the camera being on the right side of the wing. Again, that's the Glen Highway there. Top right corner of the screen is downtown Anchorage. And there's the runway coming into view. It'll be moving over towards the center of the screen. Here we are on final for runway 25. You will see some aircraft holding to take off there, right at the approach end as we go by. And in a little bit, you'll probably see our shadow come into view. There's 3 aircraft holding there to take off to the left. There comes our shadow, right on the center line. So it was another fun trip up to the glaciers. We hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to share some pictures with you now, what makes Anchorage so exciting and some of the neat things to go do and watch that have to do with aviation primarily. So here we are at the Millennium, the seaplane base, Lake Hood, just all kinds of seaplanes, 1 to 2, 3, sometimes 4 a minute there. There's the Millennium. You can sit out there, have a picnic lunch or at the outdoor restaurant, and the seaplanes are just wonderful. And you see all kinds. There's a Grumman Goose doing touch and goes. Never seen anything like that before. That was kind of cool. I was very jealous, truth be told. I wanted to go. There's a great picture of it. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed it, and of course we're doing this to inspire many of you to go make this trip yourself. It's probably the most exciting aviation trip we've ever done. Thanks for watching.